Hello and welcome to the Super Sunday F1 in the Formula Racing League. Round 12 of the championship takes us to the Hanoi Street Circuit in Vietnam. Tom Ken's your commentator, and qualifying is about to get underway. It's a three-part qualifying session, Q1, Q2 and Q3. We'll lose the slowest group of drivers in Q1. How many we'll lose in the first part of it, we'll find out in a moment. It should probably be the slowest 5. Q2 will lose the slowest 5 as well, which will leave the top 10 battling it out for pole position. Feel free to get involved in the conversation if you're watching on Twitch. Thank you for welcoming me back there, Dixon. It's very nice to see you. Can Dixon take his 9th victory out of 12 races? He's dominated the championship so far. 89 points clear he is of everyone else, which is more than 3 race victories. So we do have a full 20-car grid for qualifying, which is good to see. Just having a look to see if there's any changes to the lineups here. Now, Ellis, who was in the McLaren last weekend, is replaced by Scenario. Cavu is also in the Red Bull alongside Harry. Octavian Racers not able to compete this time round. What other changes have we also got for this week's race? Just have a look to see on the check-in. And Meister not in the Renault, so he's replaced by Very. Or Very's in the car actually, so Exotic Alpha is in place of Andy Meister in the Renault. And the driver who would have been in the Ferrari this time around is replaced by KMO 55Y43. Just stick with KMO for now. We've got some drivers out on circuit. Exotic Alpha determined to at least get a banker lap in. It's easy to exceed track limits here in Vietnam, so the drivers have got to be really careful. It's quite a long lap as well, so they can't afford to be messing around or have lap times invalidated if they were to escape a Q1 elimination. So what can we expect to see here in qualifying Vietnam? It's going to be a tricky circuit for all the drivers, particularly when they go through this last sector. We're riding on board with Exotic Alpha as he takes us a little bit of a tour on his outlap before he begins his first time lap. Now, because he's the first driver crossing the line to start a flying lap, we'll ride on board for him and we'll go around a lap here of the Hanoi Street Circuit. So down the start-finish straight, you want to brake in at around about the 100 metre board. Get the car turning, start the car turning. A little bit of a slide there through turn 1. Turn 2, cuts it fine. And they got the turns of 3 and 4 next. Pretty much a smooth chicane as he goes through. Then a quick turn of 5. And then this long straight, or quick straight down to the next chicane of turns 6 and 7. Gets the car turning nice and early. The AlphaTauri ahead, moving out of the way. 8 and 9 he gets through. And then there's like a right kink of 10, which he negotiates. And then the hairpin as he's coming up to now, turn 11, 75 metres before the hairpin. You need to brake, get into first gear to rotate the car, and as you're just before you're about to accelerate, make sure you upshift to second gear before you start accelerating. Kind of a bit too much speed there into turn 13 and then through 14, and then the quick left, right left, right left. That was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20 through fine. 21 through not too badly. The apex of 22 nailed quite nicely. Gets quite a kick of wheel spin and through 23 onto the start finish straight. And the finish line is there for him. So it's a 35.4 for the Renault driver. Hayden going second fastest on a 35.5. So less than a tenth slower than the Renault. The Red Bull is next of Harry. It's a 35.1 for him. And we've got a Ferrari over the line. That's Jay Hartnell with a 36.8. That's not a good time, to be honest with you. Scenario is next, who's had his lap time invalidated. Then we've got the other Red Bull, I think. Oh, if Cavu was going over the line, or was that an AlphaTauri going over the line? It's Dixon, actually. In the Mercedes, goes fastest on a 34.0. So the championship leader already setting the benchmark in Q1. KMO has posted a 36.9 for Ferrari. It's not a quick time, to be honest with you. Who is next to cross over the line? We've got a Williams, I believe. May just be starting a lap, actually. So we'll go to Big Balls Bells. Approaching 23. Does he nail the apex? He does. It's a 35.2, which puts him third fastest behind Dixon and Harry. Scrace is next, who's on the back straight, coming towards the hairpin. Harry gets out of the way, just about sees him in time. And Scrace should have a clean run to the line from here on in. There's no drivers he's going to be coming across between now and the end of the lap. So through 15, 16, 17, 18. And then 19 and 20 is next. And then 21 needs to nail the apex as well. 22 and 23 vital corners to get right. Misses the apex of 22. Cautious through 23. It's a 35.2 for Scrace. That puts him third fastest, I should say. We've got the Williams, the BX37 Pro, who's also, well, I say was on a fast lap. He's had a lap time invalidated, so he'll need to go again. Jay Hartnell for Ferrari. So 8 drivers have set a lap time so far in this Q1 with 11.5 minutes remaining. So just been told by Dixon it'll be a completely dry qualifying and race. So thank you for giving me the heads up there, Dixon. Rizzle 6 has crashed out though. Not sure what's happened, but he's lost it somewhere, or he may have retired in the pits. So either way, Rizzle 6 will be knocked out at the end of Q1, as he's not posted the time. Jay Hartnell not on a better lap than before, actually. Harry 2/10 up than before in sector 2. It's a blind bend. It's very, very easy to get caught out, to be honest with you. And if a car goes off ahead of you or hits the barrier, you've got not enough time to react. Harry coming up to the McLaren of Luna Ascari. Nailing the apex of 23, and it'll be a 34.9 that puts him second. With Dixon posting a faster time than before. It's a 1:33.7. Who else is on a fast lap? It'll be an Alfa Romeo next. No, it's not actually. So come away from him. So Rizzle 6 in the Haas is out of qualifying. If anyone has an update of what happened to him, I'd be keen to know, thank you. Who is the next driver to cross over the line? I think that will be the Haas of Santi. Last 2 turns of 22 and 23. Equaling the most number of corners on a Formula 1 circuit on the original calendar of 2020. It's a 34.7 for Santi. So he's the only driver other than Dixon to make it into the 1 minute 34. So I'll say that Harry's already on a 34. So Santi up into second place. The driver's second place in the Drivers' Championship at the moment, behind Dixon. We're looking to keep his slim hopes in the championship alive here in Vietnam. Got 3 drivers about to cross over the line, 2 of which I think are on outlap. So no, Night Shadow's not on an outlap. He's just finishing his fast lap. He breaks his front wing. He still posts a 1:35.9, but he did lose time. What about Luna Ascari? What's her time like? It's a 35.1. That's not too bad. That puts her 4th fastest. And we've got an Alfa Romeo crossing over the line. It's Leppy. And it's a 35.0 to put in 4th. Who's next to go over the line? It's an AlphaTauri, I think. It's Killer J who's just starting his flying lap. What about the Ferrari there of KMO? He might need to get out of the way, actually. No, he doesn't, because BX37 Pro is coming back into the pits. And he hits the limiter board as a result of it. So who else is out on track? I think Hayden's out on circuit at the moment. He's on a better time than before in sector 2, nearly 2/10 faster from his previous best. Oh, he got understeer through turn 20. 21 was okay, 22 was okay, 23 was fine, although the car was sliding as he was turning in. So 35.2, that puts him 8th. And who else is next up? We've got a McLaren. Next up, it's Scenario. Who's not had the best of exits, to be honest with you. He's taking it very cautiously around the streets of Hanoi. And it's only 14 fastest on the one at 40.8, so it's not a very representative time from him. He was probably doing a prep lap. Killer J is next up. He's yet to post a time in Q1 so far. He's about to change that here. And it's a 35.4. Puts him 10th for the time being, at least. Got a Ferrari next, so KMO, 1.2 seconds faster than his previous best, but he's outbraked himself into the penultimate turn. That'll cost him time. And it's a 36.9, so it's a better time than before. That keeps him where he is in 14th position. We go back to Very. So 1 minute 5.8 through sector 2. So Very crossing over the line to complete his first lap time of Q1. It'll be a 33.9. Puts him 2nd fastest behind Dixon. Now Very, who he's looking at where he is in the championship standings, which is something I want to get up whenever I can find it. Yeah, he's 19th in the standings, so he's yet to score a point this season. So he's on course, not necessarily for pole position, but definitely right up there for the top 5, perhaps, by the time you get into Q3, should he make it. We're going to go back to the action, because we've got a few other drivers who have yet to post times. We know Rizzlesticks is going to be knocked out. It's Assistant King making it through there. Oh, that's not good. The Ferrari holds him up there. Looks like the Ferrari impeded him. Kamo should have looked in his mirrors there and should have got out of the way. That'll compromise Statistic King's lap time, I should think. He'll be coming over the line very, very shortly now. Over the curbs. And it's a 35.9 for him. Puts him 15th. But he will need to go again for sure. Here's Cavu. Oh, he's outbraked himself into turn 20 and then 21. He decides to come into the pits. He knows he's not going to put in a good lap here, so he thought, come back into the pits and get another set of softs on BX37 Pro. So here's BX. Looking to nail the last 2 turns. And Very has called it quits for Q1. He will be back in Q2 should he make it through. BX37 Pro will be knocked out if he doesn't improve his time that he's just set. So 36.6, long way off where he needs to be. Killer J is confident enough that he's going to make it through to Q2. Now the driver at risk, that's Statistic King, who's set a 35.9. Night Shadow is on the fast lap in the Williams. He's got a clean run to the line at the moment, so we should see Night Shadow putting a better lap than before. Into the hairpin he goes. And he's 3 thousandths down from his lap from before in sector 2, so it's crucial he can find as much time as possible between now and the end of this particular flying lap. Night Shadow in the bottom 5. He's needing to find over 400ths of a second to at least give him some hope of getting out of the bottom 5. And he doesn't with that lap, so he stays 16th. There's Night Shadow. BX37 Pro. He improves his time, but he stays 17th. Scenario and Cavu are out on circuit. So can any of these drivers make a last gasp effort to make it into Q2? Cavu is yet to set a time, so yet to see any form of pace from him. He starts his last lap of Q1 now. He's got a Ferrari which he'll be coming across shortly. So he's coming through now. The Ferrari gets out of the way and he's set to one time as a 25.9. And Harry is also retired from the session as well. He's done enough to get into Q2. I think to guarantee your place in Q2, you're going to need a 35, or a low 35, I would say, to have any chance, or to guarantee your place. We've got 20 seconds to go before the checker flag falls. Both Williams drivers are in the pits, so they are knocked out of qualifying. Rizzle 6 is also out of qualifying, so we're just waiting for 2 more drivers to be eliminated. Scenario and Cavu are occupying those 2 places. In the drop zone, Statistic King is the driver at risk in 15th. That's the time that Cavu needs to beat in order to get out of Q1 or to get into Q2. Over the line he goes. I think he's going to go faster than that. No, he doesn't. It's 17th for him, so 36.1. So Cavu is not going to go through to the second part of qualifying. He's out. And Scenario is also out of qualifying. He is not going to better his time. So we have our bottom 5 for qualifying. We've got Night Shadow, Cavu, BX, Scenario, and Rizzlesticks. So it was a rather straightforward session for a lot of these drivers. I just wonder what Q2 will bring when it begins. So Statistic King will breathe a sigh of relief. I don't know if he really knows about those he was fighting to beat the drop. He didn't post a really fast time earlier on, which has left him where he was in 15th, but he's through anyway. But he wants to go faster than before, and it's a 34.9. That's a better time, that, from Statistic King. Puts him 7th fastest at the end of Q1. So the bottom 5 are as follows: Night Shadow, Kavoo, BX37 Pro, Scenario, and Mizzlesticks, who did not set a time. We don't appear to have any drivers with grid penalties for any incidents, so Q2 will begin in about a minute or so time. We know how well Luna was in the Formula Racing League. She crashed out, though, last weekend's Azerbaijan race in the Super Sunday F1. Should be hoping for a better performance here in the streets of Hanoi. So we're just waiting for some cars to make their way out onto the circuit as Q2 commences. So just looking at other positions in the championship, you can see Hayden making his way out onto the circuit. We appear to have a Racing Point doing the same. Or is it another Mercedes? It's a McLaren, actually. So the McLaren of Luna Ascari is the first one to make her way out onto the racetrack. So just looking at the championship standings, Adam Dixon, or Dixon in the Mercedes that is on 215 points. Santi is second on 126. 89 points is the gap. Big Boss Bells is third on 91. That's Hayden in the second Mercedes in fourth on 88, with Night Shadow fifth on 71. Just so that you know, with the point system for the Super Sunday F1 Championship in the Formula Racing League, it's the same as real life Formula 1. I'd be interested to say which drivers are on the medium tyres. Santi's on the mediums. Who else is on the mediums? Harry's on the mediums. Very is on the mediums. Dixon is also on the mediums. Big Boss Bells is expected to go out onto the mediums. He's probably just waiting for a gap in the traffic to make his way out on circuit. Luna Ascari rounding the last couple of corners to begin her first time lap of Q2. In terms of traffic, she should be okay. Now, in order to get into Q3, she needs to be posting ideally in the low 1 minute 34s. Now, given there are 23 corners on this track, it's vitally important to nail as many of them as she can, ideally all of them. She needs to be in the low 25s in sector 1, or in the 25s. I know it's the 26 dead in sector 1, so there's definitely a lot of time to find so far. Now, these loop sections are very difficult to absolutely nail and find time at. You have to really nail the timing of when to steer the car, when to get the power down, when to upshift, etc. Leppy getting out of the way of Ascari, who comes through. She's okay in regards to traffic at the moment. The next driver ahead of her on the road is the Alpha Tauri of either Killer J or Scrace. I think it's Killer J who's next up because he's just on his outlap. Yeah, she's okay. So coming through the 1D slalom section of 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, then through 20, 21, and this is 22 that she's about to come through. Nails the curves nicely, actually, nailing the apex very, very well. Coming through 23, it's a 36.8. It's not a very quick lap there from Ascari, so there's definitely a lot more time to be found. And who else is next across the line? Dixon's gone fastest on a 34.7. He's posted his time on the medium compound. That should see him through to Q3. Hayden also crossing the line. It's a 36.3. It's a really poor lap that from Hayden, so he will need to go again. We've got Alfa Romeo crossing the line to start his flying lap. That's Leppy. We've got a Renault crossing the line. It's Exotic Alpha who goes... Oh, Hayden stopped there. And Exotic Alpha going second fastest on the 36.0. It's not a very good time, really. The Alpha Tauri of Scrace, who's coming into the pits, actually. Or starting his flying lap. We've got a Ferrari crossing over the line, just looking to see who it is. It's Jay Hartnell, 37.8. Not a good time, really. We've got a Haas crossing over the line, and we've got a Renault crossing the line. It's Very. Goes 7th fastest. Oh, that's not a very representative time, actually. So he's just starting his prep lap. I wonder if these drivers are doing prep laps first before they do their flying laps. We'll have to wait and see. We've got a Red Bull next up. That's Harry, who is on the medium compound. He's coming back into the pits. He probably feels that he's not going to find enough time on the mediums. We've got the Mercedes next up, who I think will be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Here he is. So go to Leppy next in the Alfa Romeo, or Statistic King. In fact, Statistic King is further up from him. So we go to Statistic King first, and then Leppy. Now Statistic, rear wing open, and it's a 37.9 for him. But I think that was a prep lap he was doing. Leppy crossing over the line. It's a 35.1. That's definitely more representative, so that puts him where he is for the time being. Seems to be a traffic jam on the sections of 13 and 14. The next driver crossing the line, I think Jay Hartnell's coming into the pits this lap. Sunsi carrying on in the Haas. One of 6 drivers yet to post a time of any sort in Q2. And it'll be a 36.1 that puts him 5th. KMO starting his fine lap. The Renault of Berry going up to 7th on a 36.4. He'll probably need to go back out again on a set of softs to guarantee his place in Q3, if I would be honest with you. Well, thinking about Very, he may have done a prep lap on there, but he's willing to... Let's see what his sector 1 time is like. This is not... No, he's backed off the pace, I think, on this one. Statistic King coming into the pits. KMO. Ooh, nearly clipping the barrier there on the inside through the right kink of turn 10. There's a Haas ahead of him. That will be Santi, who will be on an in-lap. So the Haas needs to watch his mirrors when KMO comes round the fast sections of 15, 16, 17, 18, etc. I think a KMO might be alright, actually. Oh, he's lost time. Yeah, it's not the best turn in through 18. Or 19, I should say. Just 22 and 23 to go on this lap. And it should be, I'd say, a 1 minute 36. It's a 36.2 for KMO. Next up is well, Luna Ascari is about to start her latest flying lap on the mediums. Got a Red Bull next up, that's Harry. He's just about to start his flying lap, so we'll come away from him. Hayden's also on his out lap. Liverpool fan, I believe, is on a flying lap on the mediums. Here he is. Coming into turn 11. And then 12, absolutely fine through that. And sector 2 time is, well, it's a 1 minute 7.4. This is his first time lap, so we don't have anything to compare his sector 2 time with. Liverpool fan who crashed out last time out in Baku was battling with, I think it was Octavian Race he was tussling with, or maybe someone else. Either way, he's coming through turns 22 and 23. It'll be a 1 minute 36.8 that puts him 9th. Looking at Luna Ascari in the McLaren, who's 4 turns up in sector 2 on her medium compound, so she's clearly trying to get through on the mediums. I think even if this lap doesn't prove to be the fastest, she may have a chance to go back out on a set of the soft compound to book her place into Q3. Luna Ascari, rear wing open. She goes up to 9th with that lap. So not a bad lap. There's definitely more time to be found as the track continues to evolve. Killer J, Harry's next up. 7th fastest for him, it's a 36.2. Pushes Luna Ascari down to 10th and at risk. Killer J on his soft compound. He's got a Ferrari coming up. He may get a toe down this back straight. Not quite so on this occasion, it seems. We've got 2 more drivers, or 3 more drivers before him, who are about to start their next flying lap, or are on the flying lap. We go to Liverpool fan, who's on an in lap. Very, who is on an out lap. And the Ferrari of Jay Hartnell. This is not a representative time, I don't think, so it's Killer J who we need to look at. Oh, he goes too far wide at 19. 20 and 21 are okay. 22 is fine. Oh, he's having to fight the car all the way through. He turned into 23 a bit too early there, but it's a 35.6. He has lost time though. Got a McLaren of Luna Ascari coming into the pitch. She's down to 11th now, so I'd imagine she'll need to go back out, this time on a set of soft compound tyres. You can see an Alfa Romeo who's picked up damage to his front wing on his latest time lap. I'd imagine he'll come back into the pits, or will he carry on? He's carrying on because he feels he's got time in there to get himself out of the bottom 5. I don't think he's going to do that on this occasion though. No, it's a 37.3. It's faster than before, but he stays 14th. He'll not go through with that. Big Balls Bells is next for, well, I say he's next. The Renault of what looks like Very is going to be the next driver to cross over the line. He's on the soft compound tyres. 10th fastest at the moment, so I wouldn't think getting through on the mediums is the best way forward. You'll have to get through on the soft compound. It's a good lap here, having to nail the apexes so much. Gets the power down early, no wheel spin. Nails turning 3 nicely. Rear wing open. And it's a 33.3, that puts him fastest. That's the best time we've had so far, I think, throughout this qualifying session. And we've got a Ferrari coming in over the line. It's Jay Harnell, 36.3 for him. Now Harry, who finished second last time out in Baku, is very much at risk. He's not going back out again, so Can anyone further from him downwards push him out of qualifying? Luna Ascari is exiting the pits. She's got a race against time to get over the line before the checker flag falls. She might just be okay. This is Jay Hartnell, who's not on a good lap at the moment. So it looks like his qualifying session is finished. Statistic King won't be going back out. He's out of qualifying. Big Bob Valls goes up to, well, he goes 15th on a 37.6. So unless he can find some time on this last lap, he will be knocked out of qualifying. It's set to 1 time. It's not particularly quick at the moment. It's quarter of a second. We know that Jay Hartnell will not be going through to Q2. So the driver at risk, that's Harry in 10th. Oh, and KMO smashed it. Now KMO, because he smashed the car out, he will not take any further part in qualifying. It's a silly thing to do, to be honest with you, because you've got a chance to at least get into Q3 and set a better lap time. James Hartnell's out, so Luna Ascari and Liverpool Fan both had the opportunity to get themselves out of get themselves into the top 10. Liverpool Fan's first sector time is decent. 6/10 up from his previous lap he set on the medium compound. So we know, just look to see if Big Bob Bells is on a fast lap. He's a quarter of a second down through sector 2. I'm not sure if this lap is going to be better than before. I don't think it will be. Oh, it is better. He goes 11th fastest, does Big Bob Bells. I don't think he's going to have enough time. No, he's backed out of it. So that's Big Bob Bells out of qualifying. So we've got Liverpool Fan, who is over 7/10 up through sector 2 from his previous best lap. The lap he's chasing or targeting is KMO's 10th place. That is a 36.2, and at the moment he's on course to beat that. So Liverpool Fan gets a kick of wheel spin as he comes out of the penultimate turn. Over the line he goes. It's a 1:35.5. He's into the top 10. What about Luna Ascari? She got over the line before the checkered flag, so she's 6/10 up from her previous lap in sector 1. So Harry's into the drop zone at the moment. So he's out of qualifying as well. If Luna Ascari can beat KMO's lap time, she will go through to Q3. That's all she needs to do. 9/10 up from her previous best time in sector 2, which is more than enough. So she doesn't need to push too hard in this last part of the lap. Nicely done. Ooh, just got a kick of, I think, a bit of understeer through turn 20, I believe it was. But coming out of the penultimate turn and then the last turn. Oh, she's hit the barrier. Oh, does she get through? Yes, she does. Just escapes elimination. She goes 6th fastest. So KMO is out of qualifying along with Harry, Big Boss Bells, Jay Hartnell and Statistic King. So Dixon, Hayden and Santi have made it through on the medium compound. So in terms of the shocks, I mean, Big Boss Bells will be disappointed with his 13th fastest time, but at least he's got a free choice of tyres to start the race on. It will be a dry race as well, for your information, in case you're wondering, will it be a wet race? In case, you know, this regulation of starting on whatever tyres if you're in the top 10 is relevant. Well, it is relevant because it will be a dry race. So KMO out of qualifying along with Harry. Big Boss Bells will start 13th. Jay Hartnell and Sister King also eliminated. There's no drivers who have picked up grid penalties during that, so we're going to be in for a brilliant Q3 session, I would imagine. Luna Ascari is sending her message to her, well, I was going to say her teammate, but it's not a teammate, it's Statistic King, who will start in 15th position. So this is Q3, 12 minutes to determine who will start where inside the top 10. If you are watching on Twitch, do feel free to get involved in the conversation as well. There are people who are sending in their messages, welcoming me back, saying good luck to fellow drivers. Any questions you wish for me to answer, I can do that. And if you are watching on Twitch and or YouTube, either of the two, feel free to follow me on social media as well, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube channel and follow me on Twitch. Severi is the first driver out on circuit, so we should expect him to be the first driver over the line to start his first fine lap of this Q3 session. So just reminding myself of who has won races other than Dixon this season. Now Santi, who's second in the championship, has won 2. We've had 3 other drivers who have won a race this season other than Dixon. They are, I think it's Jay Hartnell, who has won in Bahrain. Santi, who's second in the championship, won in Zandvoort. And Hayden, who is Dixon's Mercedes teammate, he has won in Canada. Very starting his Q3 lap, or the first of possibly 2 Q3 laps. Took a lot of curve through turn 1 and 2. This is 3 and 4 he's executing next. DRS Open. Ideally needs to be in the 25s to put himself in the frame for pole position. So 25.3, so it's a good lap so far from Very. He could be a contender for pole position, Coming out with 8 and 9. And then sooner rather than later, there'll be the smooth right hand kink of 10. So we have 6 drivers out on circuit at the moment. Now Very will be looking to produce a very good time in this final part of qualifying to determine the grid. There are no points for pole position in this. Through turns 20 and now 21. Naomi opens this very, very nicely. 22 gets the car turned in, rotates the car very, very nicely actually. 23, a little bit tardy on the entry, but it's a 33.5 overall, so it's a good lap time there from Very. I wouldn't say that's going to be the fastest by the time Q3 is over, but at least it's a start for him. Scrace with a 34.5, full second off the pace in the AlphaTauri. We've got a Haas next, that's Santi. It'll be a 34.8 for him. And we've got an Alfa Romeo of Leppi who's next. This is not a representative time, so I'd imagine the lap he's just starting now will be his representative time. So we'll stay with him, as he's the only driver who's going to be going on a representative time currently. Mercedes of, I think that was Hayden who's just crossed over the line. It's supposed to 34.9. So it's advantage Very at the moment, although Dixon's waiting in the pits. Perhaps for a gap in the traffic. Leppy. No mistakes so far. He's got like 4 cars ahead of him. He's got McLaren first up. That'll be Luna Ascari, who is on an outlap, so she'll need to watch her mirrors as Leppy comes through. Now, if I was... Yeah, Luna's pulling to the side there, so that's a wise decision that from Ascari. It'll be tricky to do it in that fast slalom section. The Haas should be remaining out of the way, so Leppy's got a clear run to the line from here on in. Nicely done through 22. What's he like through 23? It's going to be a 1 minute 34.3 to put him second on the timing pages. Luna Ascari starting her first flying lap of Q3. This is Liverpool fan. Turn 22, not the best of entries, had a lot of understeer. 23 was okay. It'll be a 35.5 for him. Slowest of the 6 drivers so far. Exotic Alpha will be the next to complete a flying lap in the Renault. Exotic Alpha having no trouble through the slalom section. This is going to be a lap that puts him maybe in the top 5 by the end of qualifying. He needs to be in the 34s minimum to have any chance of doing that. And it will be a 34. It's a 34.5 for him, puts him 4th fastest in front of Santi. Luna Ascari is next for McLaren. And it'll be a 34.9 that puts her 7th and behind Hayden. Dixon's had his lap time invalidated for exceeding track limits, so I don't know whether he'll decide to come back into the pits and get another set of softs on, or commit himself to this to do another lap straight away. He hasn't posted the time yet so far. Exotic Alpha is on another flying lap actually in the Renault. He's half a 10th up in sector 1 from his personal best. So we'll stay with him. In terms of traffic, he's okay at the moment. There is an AlphaTauri that's coming through turn 13. But should be well clear of Exotic Alpha by the time he catches up to it. Yeah, so he's Exotic Alpha not far away. He is a few hundredths off. But if he can nail this last section, he could be in the frame to put himself into the frame for a top 5 start. Exotic Alpha coming through turn 22. Kick of wheel spin as he exited over the start finish line. It's going to be a 34.5. It's a better lap, and that puts him 3rd fastest. Killer J is the next driver who is on a flying lap. It's a 25.7 through sector 1. Takes all the curb and then some. DRS open. There's no one ahead of him who could potentially interrupt his lap, so he's got a clear run to the line. Let's see what his sector 2 time is like. He needs to be in the realms of 1 minute 5 probably. It's a 1 minute 6.6. Coming through 13 and now 14. This is 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh, he cuts the barrel on the outside. That's going to compromise his line throughout the remainder of that particular section. Now, does he go on another lap? I think he'll just complete the lap anyway, but that will most definitely have cost him time. It'll be a 1 minute 35.9 that puts him ninth for the time being. Dixon is out on his final set of soft tyres to put himself in the frame for pole position here. Very still fastest by 3/4 of a second over Leppi, who's second. It's a very good lap time from him, I posted earlier. Exotic Alpha, I'm not sure if he's got enough time to get round. He's trying to recharge the battery at the moment. Scrace is fourth. He's just started his final flying lap. I think Lunar Ascari may just have missed the cut here. Well, he's going to be missing the cut. Oh, and Hayden stopped. As have, I think they're just getting out of the way of Dixon, who's just about to start his final flying lap now. Hayden starting his final flying lap. As is, what looks like Very, or Exotic Alpha, remains out there, determined to improve his lap time. In fact, Hayden's gone off. So Hayden not going to improve, so no faster than, no quicker than sixth. Now Killer J is the next driver I think is going to be crossing the start-finish line. Two tenths faster than before, puts him only ninth with that lap. Scrace has his lap time invalidated, and Luna Ascari has missed the cut, so she will not be improving from seventh. Got Leppi, who is going to be the next driver over the line. He's 1,000 up in sector 2 from his previous best, and he furthers his grip on second. But will he keep that by the end of the session? Liverpool fan goes up to sixth with a much better time. It's a 34.8 for him. Dixon's next up for Mercedes. Is this going to be the lap that puts him on pole position once again? 1 minute 33.5 is the time to beat, and he doesn't beat it. So Very is on pole position for the Vietnam Grand Prix, ahead of Dixon and Leppi, with Exotic Alpha a great fourth. So two Renaults in the top four. I think we've got other drivers who are still on flying laps though. We've got Santi goes up to third with that lap to 33.9. And then we've got a Renault of Exotic Alpha crossing the line, doesn't improve. But Very is on, well, not a fast lap, but he's got it. So Very is on pole position for the Vietnam Grand Prix by less than 0.2 of a second from Dixon. Santi and Leppi will line up on row 2 with Exotic Alpha and Scrace on the third row, Liverpool fan and Hayden on row 4, Luna Ascari and Killer J rounding out the top 10. Well, that was a surprise, wasn't it? But Very's pace has proven in Q1 that he's got it where it takes to challenge Dixon for pole, and he's done it. And in fantastic style as well. But that was qualifying. Can he convert that into a solid race result? So just a quick rundown. Very on pole position alongside Dixon. It's Santi and Leppi on row 2. Alpha and Scrace on row 3. Liverpool fan and Hayden on row 4. Luna Ascari and Killer J on row 5. No one out of those 10 drivers have got grid penalties, which is good news. So just looking to see if there's anyone coming with their suggestions. And Dixon's only sort of half spun in sector 1. Hence why I lost time in that first part of the lap. So the drivers just sorting out their race and fuel strategies. So I'll be back in a moment. So the formation lap is on the way. We're very leading the field round. Let's take a look on who is on whatever tyres. So Dixon, Sansi and Hayden, who got through to Q3, will start on the mediums. Kimo, Harry, Statistic King, Kavu and BX37 Pro also started on the mediums. Big Balls Bells, Jay Hartnell, Night Shadow, Scenario and Rizzlesticks are all starting on the hards. All the others are starting on the soft compound, including Very, who starts from pole position. Will today's race prove to be a cracker? No, last night's 100% racing round at Monza, full 100% race distance event, saw 4 safety cars and 2 virtual safety cars. We know what Vietnam can bring, as what we've seen in all races, online sim races on the Hanoi Street Circuit. Let's just hope that these drivers get through the first few laps safely without any drama. So Very coming round with Dixon behind Sansi, Leppy and Exotic Alpha. Can any of those trouble the leaders? So everyone is in position now. Just waiting for those 5 red lights to come on. And the Vietnam Grand Prix will be underway. Red lights are on. Lights out, and away we go. Very gets off to a very good start. Dixon not as good. We've got a stall at the back. Rizzlesticks seems to have stalled, but the drivers carry on as normal, and into turn 1 they come. Dixon gets tapped from behind. Very stays in the lead, and we've got the Haas of what looks like Sansi, who goes up into 2nd position. So Rizzlesticks disqualified for parking in a dangerous position. So that's his race. So, we got an incident! The Renault of Exotic Alpha spinning into the barrier. Oh, he's kept going. I thought that was it for it. But there's pieces of debris flying everywhere. So there's going to see a lot of pit lane activity at the end of the first lap. And we've got a virtual safety car An interesting chain of events there. It looked as though that Exotic Alpha had damaged the front suspension by hitting the barrier, but has got away with it. It's just front wing damage for him. But Very leads at the start. Then it's Santi in second place, getting the jump on there, Dixon. Scrace is fourth, followed by Hayden. Luna Ascari has picked up damage in sixth position. She'll probably need to come into the pits to get that replaced. Leppy is seventh, followed by Liverpool Fan. Then it's Harry in ninth. I wonder if he's picked up damage as well. No, he hasn't. Big Boss Bells is in the top 10. We're back on the way now. We've got two drivers with time penalties so far. Kavu and Killer J. That'll probably feel a collision behind the virtual safety car, so they'll need to take that the next time they come into the pits. But Very leads on the virtual safety car restart. Can he convert that into the race win? Santi is second. Dixon is third. And it's Grace, Hayden and Leppy, who's just got ahead of Luna Ascari, who I think is going to be coming into the pits at the end of lap 1, which she does, gets the car slowed down. Into the pit, anyone else coming in? And Killer J, Exotic Alpha are also in. So Very continuing to lead. Santi in second place. Hayden up to fourth. He made a great start actually. Leppy now fifth. And Liverpool Fan continuing to close enough in. We're having glitches on the leaderboard at the moment. So what you're seeing is not the correct leaderboard. So we'll go to Very in the Renault, who's the leader. And look to see if there's any battles going on further behind. Santi keeping hold of second place ahead of Dixon. Grace right behind, and it's Hayden in fifth position, and then it's Leppy in sixth. So that's the top 6 at the moment. So Very coming round, and it's as though that Big Balls Bells has got ahead of. So he's got ahead of Jay Hartnell actually. So Big Balls Bells up into 9th place. The leaderboard has corrected itself now. So what you are currently seeing is the correct race positions. So back to the battle for second place, because Dixon is all over the Haas of Santi. There's no DRS for the first 2 laps. They've just completed the second lap now. So the next time they get onto the first back straight, that's when the likes of Dixon and Hayden can start, or Scrace I should say, can start using their DRS, although Dixon ran wide at turn 1. That'll cost him time. Can he get in front of Santi on this back straight? Down into turn 6 and 7 they come. Statistic King getting ahead of Jay Hartnell for 11th place. Jay Hartnell dropping backwards at the moment. Dixon is surely going to have DRS, and Killer J has retired in the pits and is calling it a day. So what a really terrible day it has been for him. He qualified into... Oh, Dixon surely has picked up damage. Did he get bars into the barrier by the Haas of Santi? Was he trying to get past? He may well have done. He's definitely picked up damage on the right hand side of his front wing. He's carrying on for now, but that won't do the handling of the Mercedes any good. Night Shadow getting ahead of Scenario for 14th position. Can Scrace get through this slalom section fine? No, we know Santi doesn't have front wing damage. Dixon carries on for now, but Very's lead is now just over 5 seconds as he ends lap 3. Absolutely on fire is the Renault pilot. Scrace all over the back of Santi. Leppy closing in as well, setting a new fastest lap. It's a 1:39.0. Can BX37 Pro get past the Ferrari of Jay Hartnell, who started the race on the hard sides? And we've got a spinner. It's Hayden. Hayden spun on the exit of turn 2. He's fallen behind the racing points of Liverpool fan and Big Balls Bells and rejoins in 9th, just ahead of Cavu. So bad mistake there for Hayden. He appears to have got away with no damage, but still not where he wants, and Santi will be looking to get his own back. Oh, and Leppy nearly losing it coming out of turn 9, and that'll allow the Rebel of Harry through. Harry doing a fine job after being knocked out in Q2. Second place last time out in Baku. But here's Santi on the medium compound, trying to close in on Dixon for second place. Now Jay Hartnell will be looking to get back ahead of Statistic King. And we've got an incident in sector 2, not sure what's happened. It looks like the Rebel of Cavu has gone for a spin and he's picked up damage. So that kind of damage will most definitely need to see him back in the pits. He's got to be careful to get through in the slalom section, because if he puts it wrong in the barrier, it could cause all sorts of problems. Luckily, there's no one else close behind him, so he should be able to get round without any drama. He has got a time penalty to serve in the pits, so conveniently he can just take that as he comes into the box. And Santi continuing to close in on Dixon. Now, all this time, Santi being stopped behind the wounded Mercedes is allowing Very to continue pulling out a huge margin. Is he going to get the job done into 6th with DRS? The answer is no, so he waits behind again. Can he make it into turn 8? What a brilliant move down the inside there. That was a very audacious manoeuvre, but it worked. So Santi up into 2nd place, but can Dixon fight back? Oh, the 2 bang wheels going through turn 10, and Dixon's got back through with DRS. So Dixon back through into 2nd, with Strace and Harry closing in behind them. Hayden looking to do the same on Big Balls Bells. Harry goes up into 4th place, down at the hairpin, ahead of Strace. Hayden doing the same on Big Balls Bells. So those starting on the medium tyres are very much coming into their own window now. Dixon, I think, will be thinking about the championship at this point. But he's coming into the pits to get that front wing change. So that allows Santi to go back up into 2nd. With Harry now in 3rd, Strace in 4th. I think Dixon will try and go on a long 2nd stint. He'll rejoin behind the Williams of Night Shadow and the McLaren of Scenario. Ooh, and Scenario clipped the barrier and might have got away with it. Yeah, I think he just got away with it on that one. So Dixon rejoins in 14th position. And he'll have DRS straight away, as he was within a second of the McLaren ahead of him at the detection point. So he uses the DRS now. Very continuing to lead. And Harry moving up into 2nd place past Santi. So Harry making good use of those medium tyres earlier on. Can he go after the race leader, Very, who you'd think his soft tyres are beginning to fall off the cliff? Jay Hartnell getting ahead of Statistic King for 9th place into the hairpin. Jay Hartnell, one of a few drivers starting the race on the hard tyres. And Dixon has now got ahead of Scenario for 13th position. Yes, 37 Pro doing a fine job so far after starting at the back. He started the race on the medium compound. Santi with DRS, not close enough to have a go on the Red Bull of Harry. What other battles have we got out on circuit at the moment? The closest one is between Leppy and Liverpool fan, I believe. Or between Jay Hartnell, Statistic King and BX37 Pro. Liverpool fan will have DRS to close in on Leppy in front of him. Now, how long before those have started on the... Oh, and Liverpool fan cutting the corner. I'm sure he'll have got a warning for that. Didn't want to take the curb that heavily, so he thought just go across the runner area, but he's gaining an advantage surely by doing that. He's going to have DRS as he closes in on the Alfa Romeo, who I think may have DRS as well. No, he doesn't, so Liverpool fan has an opportunity to close right in, perhaps go for a lunge down the inside into the hairpin. No, he's too far back to do it from there, so Liverpool fan has to slot back in behind, keep hold of 6th position. Hayden under pressure from the racing point. Oh, and Leppy's allowed Liverpool fan through. I'm not sure what's happened there. Did he make a mistake coming out of the hairpin? He's picked up front wing damage. That explains why. He must have hit the barrier as he got the power down out of 11. And I'm sure he's going to need to come back into the pits to get a front wing replacement. So Leppy is going to be coming in. And gets the limiter on. BX37 Pro has a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. That'll go to his time at the end of the race. Now, what tyres will Leppy choose to go on? I don't think we've got any other battles going on at the moment. The field is pretty much spreading out at the moment. Leppy is going on to the medium compound, so we could see a soft medium strategy for Leppy. Now, Hayden is under pressure from the racing point of Big Boss Bells. Luna getting ahead of Leppy as... In fact, Leppy's just coming out of the pits, actually. So it might just scrape in front of the McLaren. He does so. That's the benefit of coming out of the pits there. You may just get able to sneak in front of the driver who's just coming through turn 1 and protect your position. So Leppy has got an opportunity to use the track position he's got to close in on the McLaren of Scenario for 13th position. So he's most certainly not out of the frame for a podium yet. Big Boss Bells side by side with Hayden. Around the outside as they come into 11. Big Boss Bells has to give Hayden the room. Tries to do the switchback out of 11 and 12. Can he make it through turn 13? The two are side by side. Hayden locks up. Big Balls Bells thought about doing the switchback, but this is the slalom section that they're about to come through, so wisely has to sit in behind. Oh, and BX Pro has crashed. BX37 Pro has crashed out in the Williams. He clipped the barrier somewhere, and his race is over. So no points for BX37 Pro. Will we need a safety car? Yes, we will. So on lap 9 out of 28, we've got a safety car. Now, those who have started on the soft compound will be thinking about a pit stop. Liverpool fan doing so. Comes in for the medium compound. Now, Strace and Very have already gone past the pit lane. Now, Liverpool fan coming out of the pits. Don't want to go too quick there. But he's got out in front of the Williams of Night Shadow. That was a very hefty impact there for BX37 Pro in that slalom section. That was something I was discussing. And Cavu has got a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's not good news. He's already been in trouble with the stewards in this race. Scenario getting a new front wing fitted. Now, if you're Luna Ascari, do you get a set of the medium tyres on, or do you try and go to the end of the race on the hard tyres? Scenario exiting the pits in 15th. Cavu should get out in front of the Ferrari of Kiyamo. Very is coming up behind him, actually, but Kiyamo will stay on the lead lap because he's ahead of Very on the road. I think Very's going to be coming into the pits, actually. Yes, he is. So, Very coming into the pits. Oh, he's failed to slow down in time. That's a 5-second time penalty. So, that'll be taken at his next pit stop, which won't be this one, but will be for the one after, or it'll go to his race time at the end. He's coming in for what looks like the hard tyres for him, so we should expect him to go to the end of the race on those. Harry's also in for Red Bull. He's going on the... Oh, the Red Bull mechanics weren't quite ready for him, actually. Hard tyres go on the Red Bull. Out he goes. Santi's got the jump on him, goes into second. Harry joins with Strace now on the hard tyres. So Very rejoins in the lead. Big Balls Bells, who's yet to stop, is second. Jay Hartnell, who's yet to stop, is in third. Then it's Santi, Harry, Strace, who's ahead of Dixon. Liverpool Fan in 8th. Hayden 9th. Statistic King rejoining on a set of soft tyres is in 10th place now, ahead of his teammate Leppy. Night Shadow will rejoin in 12th. Ascari back in the pits for a set of the mini compound is in 13th. Just looking to see if Ascari can get out in front of her teammate who's coming into turn 1. Yeah, she will do easily. So no problem there. Now, can Exotic Alpha get in front of the Red Bull? Yes, he can. Oh, don't want to go over the white line, though, Ray. He needs to stay within it until it ends. There we go. So Exotic Alpha rejoins in 15th, ahead of the Red Bull. Humo is in the pits. He should perhaps go on the hard tyres. Yes, he is, yes. So there's a set of hard tyres ready for him. And that should see him to the end of the race. So it's uncertain as to how long the safety car will remain out there for. This may not be the last safety car of this race, so that's just something that the drivers will bear in mind. Dixon clearly not very happy. Questioning who turns into people on a straight. Well, I think he's got a very valid point, because he was already alongside when he was trying to get through on... I think it was Santi who was already alongside, and then clipped the barrier as they went through turn 10. That's such a dangerous part of the racetrack. But Very leads behind the safety car. Big Balls Bells is second. Jay Hartnell is in third, followed by Santi, Harry, Strace, Dixon, who is on hard tyres. They've done at least 4 laps more than those who've just pitted. Liverpool Fan is 8th, Hayden 9th, and Statistic King holding the final point in 10th position. Now the driver who's set the fastest off the race so far, that is Leppy, who's currently in 11th position. Now Cavu, who has a 5-second time penalty to his name, will need to take that probably either his next pit stop or at the end of the race. And will the safety car choose to come in at the end of this lap? We'll find out when it gets to the second time being. And the answer is that the safety car is going to continue round for another lap. So if you're Very, do you decide to come into the pits and put another set of tyres on and take that 5-second time penalty under the safety car, or do you keep track position? I think the best decision at this point would be to keep hold of track position. There's a long way to go yet in this Vietnam Grand Prix. Round 12 of the Super Sunday F1 Championship in the Formula Racing League. As it stands as far as the championship is concerned, Santi would close in on Dixon by 6 points, which would narrow the gap down to 83 points. But we've still got another 17 laps to go in this one, and a lot can still change, and I do mean a lot. So Very will be looking to he'll be looking to complete a nice restart once the racing does finally get underway again. So that KMO has caught up to the field. So who's your money on for victory? Let us know in the comment section on the Twitch. So the reason why we're under safety car conditions is because of an accident involving BX37 Pro clipping the barriers in the slalom section, which saw both front wheels dislodged and battered. This may not be the last safety car we have in this race. The safety car is going to be coming in at the end of this lap. Now, when will Very decide to go? He probably won't go in the slalom section of the circuit. He'll want to get through turns 15, 16, 17 and 18 first, I would reckon, before he decides to floor it. Exotic Alpha has picked up a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Cavu, I think it was. Or KMO. May debate that afterwards with the stewards. But Very has decided to go now. He's caught the field napping, in fact. Big Boss Bells has dropped off. He's over 1.5 seconds off him. So it's a very nice restart. And Leppy's out. And Leppy has had an incident. Oh, he's crossed it. He's binned it on the exit of what looks like turn 12 by the looks of things. Not turn 12. 21, or the entry of 21. He's had it coming together with someone. Not quite sure what's happened. But he's lost it on the exit. He's had it coming together with someone clearly. And he's out of the race. So Leppy's chances of points have gone out of the window. And he's the 4th driver to exit this race. So Very leads on the restart. Big Balls Bells is 2nd, followed by Jay Hartnell, Santi, Harry, Scrace, Dixon, who's still in 7th place on his hard tyres. Fan is 8th, Statistic King 9th, and Hayden rounding out the top 10. There's no DRS for the first 2 laps of the restart. So it's pure racing for the next couple of laps for these drivers, as Dixon is determined to get on with it here and get past Scrace to put himself back in the frame of taking the victory. He may not already know that Very is carrying a 5-second time penalty. And we don't know whether he will choose to pit again. We know that Big Balls Bells and Jay Hartnell have to pit. So Dixon's targets at the moment are going to be Harry and Santi to get by on the road. So Big Balls Bells and Jay Hartnell extending, well, losing ground actually to Very, who continues to pull away in the lead. But can he keep it at the end of the next 15 laps? Got a move here from Harry, goes to the inside of Santi as they come into turn 1, slots back in. Too far back to have a go. Jay Hartnell slides a little bit as he tried to get the power down out of turn 1. Protects his line through 2, 3 and 4. And then 5, and he protects his position there. The good news for him is that there's no DRS at this point, although Santi is determined to try and get ahead of him at this point. Goes to the inside as they come down into the slow corner of turn 6. Santi, ooh, I wonder if he cut the corner there. Harry gets by as well. Does Dixon get by on the inside? He does, and he may even get the Red Bull if he's lucky enough, but he has to slot in behind. In fact, Harry got out of shape coming out of turn 9, and that's going to allow Dixon to pull alongside and complete a brilliant manoeuvre. We've also got the AlphaTauri of Strace going alongside Jay Hartnell, and up into 6th place he goes. We've got the Racing Point next up, although Jay Hartnell may try and fight back as they come into the hairpin, but has to accept defeat on that occasion. Oh, we've got a comment together between the Alfa Romeo of Statistic King and the Racing Point of Liverpool Fan. And Liverpool Fan has lost out big time now. He's lost positions to Hayden and Night Shadow. Not sure how well he's going to take that. He's probably not going to take that very, very lightly, I would imagine. But Harry's now in 4th place, chasing after Sansi, who's going after the other driver who's yet to pit in this race. That's Big Balls Bells in the Racing Point. So very continuing to extend the margin. DRS is now enabled. So the next time these drivers come onto the first back straight, they can use the DRS. And if I say that, Harry's just hit the barrier and broken his front wing. Surely this is his chance for Dixon to get by round the outside into turn 1. And that's 4th place going to the championship leader. So Dixon making his way back through the field, even on older tyres than most of the leaders. He's not going to have DRS in the first back straight, but he's well clear of Harry and Strace. He may be able to get himself into DRS range for the next time to get onto the second back straight. And and Harry nearly going into the barrier there on the exit of turn 7. And we should see a battle or a change for 3rd place in a moment as Dixon uses the DRS now. Can he pull off a more clean manoeuvre than he did so last time with Santi earlier on in the race? Not on this occasion. Stays behind. Oh, and someone's in the barrier. It's the other Mercedes of Hayden, and he's out of the race. Now, did he have a similar incident to what his teammate had early in the race and clipped the barrier on the right-hand kink of turn 10? He must have done as he tried to get past what I think was Jay Hartnell. But he's gone into the barrier and he's out of the race. That brings out another virtual safety car. Now, if you're Big Balls Bells, do you decide to pit? He decides not to. A very nasty accident. Luckily, no one else was involved in it. And in fact, Harry does come into the pits under the virtual safety car. Jay Hartnell does as well. Night Shadow likewise. But Strace has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. He's the only driver with a drive-through penalty through all that. But that's really bad news for his race. Hayden will be livid with Jay Hartnell, I would imagine. Be interesting to look back on the footage. So Dixon on the tail of the Haas of Santi. I think Santi might get DRS behind the Racing Point of Big Balls Bells as well. So Dixon will need to get into the slipstream of the Haas before they get to the DRS zone. And the Haas is conserving ERS at the moment as Dixon goes to the inside into turn 11, gets his elbows out, and up into 3rd place goes the Mercedes. So Dixon putting on a champion's drive at the moment. Surely it won't be too long before he gets by the Racing Point of Big Balls Bells. Looking further behind as Lunar Ascari is in 8th behind the Racing Point of Liverpool Fan. And I think by the time Big Balls Bells does lose that position, I think Dixon will be... He'll be looking to get to within 5 seconds of Very by the time they get to the checkered flag. I think that's the only way he's going to win this one. So he needs to get by Big Balls Bells as soon as he can, really. And it's probably going to be on the back straight where turn 10 is. That's probably his best opportunity to not only get into 2nd place, but to keep hold of it. DRS open. Dixon goes to the inside, slots back in and decides to wait, as I thought he would do, before the drivers get onto the back straight, where Dixon can get that rear wing flap open, get into the slipstream, pull alongside, and that is surely going to be 2nd place for him. So here he goes. The Racing Point leaves him enough room on the inside, and that's second place going to the Mercedes. The Wolfan looking to defend 7th place from Ascari, but Ascari is going to go to the inside as they come into the hairpin, and Ascari completes a nice manoeuvre. Well done, Ascari. Up into 7th place she goes. So Very continuing his lead, 5.5 seconds it is, but with Dixon now in 2nd place and with a clear track in front of him, he can set about going after the pole sitter of this race. 5.3 seconds separating those two drivers. But Dixon, with the use of DRS, he had to get in front of Big Balls Bells. That'll see him complete a new fastest lap, which is a 1 minute 38.9. And Scrace has been disqualified for not taking the drive-through penalty. That's a shame. And he's only got himself to blame for that. Not taking the drive-through penalty when he needed to have done. And that's his chances of points out of the window. What a shame. What a shame. Harry setting a new fastest lap of 1 minute 36.6. That's over 1.3 seconds quicker than Dixon's fastest lap on the hard tyres, as Santi gets past the racing point of Big Balls Bells. But Big Balls Bells, I think, is going to have DRS on the back straight as they go through now. Santi's still conserving ERS. Scenario's got ahead of KMO. Oh, nearly going into the barrier as well, did KMO. But Scenario's though, and up into 9th place. Luton Ascari, with Scrace's disqualification, is now up into 6th. Santi going to the inside of Big Balls Bells to cement that 3rd position. Now with Ferry's time penalty, that would still see him leave Hanoi as the race winner. Dixon will be thinking more about the championship. As it stands, he would be extending the lead by 3 points, which would see his gap increase to 92. Now Hayden, as I would imagine, would be very, very furious after the collision he had. I think it was with Jay Hartnell he came together. He may have to correct me on that. He's saying he's sick of drivers not knowing how to drive. I know how it feels, dude. I know how it feels. There will be a few inquiries after the race, I'd imagine. Harry, who's already set the fastest up of the race, is up into 9th place on his soft tyres. I doubt he'll go to the end on those. So he'll probably come back in for another set of the soft compound next time he gets in. So if we have a virtual safety car or a safety car, that would favour him actually, because he would lose less time in the pits under either of those conditions as opposed to green flag conditions. So Dixon, 3.6 seconds in front of Santi. He's 4/10 away from being within that 5-second bracket. Oh, we've got an instant sector 2, not sure what's happened. I think Scenario's had a moment, and he's fallen behind the Ferraris of KMO and Jay Hartnell. So Scenario down to 12th place. Very continuing to lead. Dixon in 2nd place. Now Ascari in 6th position, going after the Alfa Romeo. And Jay Hartnell protecting his position from KMO. Two tussling over the final point. And Hayden Rogers was just updating me saying it was Night Shadow that put him in the barrier. So what drivers can do post-race is, well, so we've got a couple of drivers in the pits actually. That's Big Balls Bells and Statistic King, both of them pitting. And Big Balls Bells having to wait actually in the box to allow Statistic King to get into his. But going back to what I was saying with Hayden's incident, it was Night Shadow that came together with him. What the drivers can do is post-race is submit footage for the stewards to have a look at and investigate to see if any sanctions are worth imposing to any driver, as driving standards are paramount within this series. So with Big Balls Bells and Statistic King's pit stops, it's allowed Luna Ascari to go up into a brilliant 4th place. Will she keep that though by the time the drivers get to the checker flag. 6 seconds behind Santi, so I can't imagine she'll be troubling him unless we do get another safety car. Big Boss Bells getting ahead of... Ooh, the two nearly banging wheels. Big Boss Bells gets the DRS open. Oh, he nearly got into the barrier as he got past KMO. Very marginal indeed. Big Boss Bells protecting the line with the DRS, and he goes through. Not sure he'll be too impressed with KMO's driving there. But Big Boss Bells has got through into 9th position anyway. Harry in 7th in the Red Bull. He'll just be keen to get some points out of this race, actually, as is that Liverpool fan has just come into the pits. It is. So, Liverpool fan coming into the pits. He's done 10 laps on the medium tyres. He'll probably go onto a set of the soft compound to complete the race on. I'm just thinking, where will he rejoin? Scenario coming into the pits. I don't imagine that Liverpool fan will rejoin ahead of Night Shadow. Oh, we got a spinner. We've got KMO who spins coming out of turn 1. Falls behind Statistic King. And that will allow Liverpool fan to go through ahead of him, I think. So Liverpool fan getting the benefit of track position. I wonder if the Ferrari will have DRS, actually, which it does. Now keep it clean. We've already had enough drivers pulling out of this race due to accidents or disqualifications. We don't really want any more. KMO gets back through, but for how long? We've got Big Boss Bells who's going to have DRS on the back of the other Ferrari of Jay Hartnell. And through into 7th place he goes. Liverpool fan down the inside. Oh, I thought it was down alongside, actually, unless he decides to slot back in to avoid a collision. But he's round the outside as they come into the hairpin. He will be the latest of the two. It's the Ferrari who's the latest of the two. And KMO keeps hold of 10th position. That's good defensive driving from him, actually. And we've got the McLaren of Scenario getting back through on Cafu for 13th place. Dixon's narrowed the gap down to 2 seconds. I wonder if Very's made a mistake somewhere. Either way, Dixon's close to within 1.9 seconds. Now, Dixon doesn't need to pass Very in order to win the race. He just needs to be within 5 seconds of him. Jay Hartnell in the pits for Ferrari to go onto a set of soft tyres. He'll rejoin behind Night Shadow. Should be ahead of Scenario. So 12th place will be where Jay Hartnell rejoins. Now here's Dixon in 2nd. Seven laps to go in the Vietnam Grand Prix. Now Dixon wants to take victory. Oh, we've got an incident sector 2, not sure what's happened. It's the Ferrari of KMO who's had a spin. No damage is done, but he's dropped a couple of positions due to that. And he's kept his DRS turned on. Turn it off, mate, because otherwise you'll spin the car as you're coming out of corners. Just turn it off now anyway. 1.4 seconds the gap now between Very and Dixon. As it stands, if Dixon was to take victory and Santi coming home in 3rd, the gap would extend to 99 points going into the next round of the season. Just looking to see where the series will be racing after Vietnam. It'll be at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi in a week's time. And Harry in 5th position. He should get to within a second of Luna Ascari by the time we get to the detection point. And someone else has had a spin. Oh, it's Cavu. Cavu's out. So Cavu's crashed out on the exit, or on the entry, I should say, of what looks like turn 22. Now, did he bin it? Or did he just retire from the session blatantly? Either way, it's cleared anyhow, but the thing is, if you've just called it quits, you must go in the pit lane, pause, retire from the session, and that's it. Otherwise, it can interfere with the racing that's happening. But he's out of the race anyway. Now Harry right behind Luna Ascari. Going to the outside. This could be a cracking manoeuvre into 22, and it is! What a move from Harry! That was an excellent overtake, wasn't it? So Harry diving to the inside and putting his Red Bull up into 4th place. Now Ascari's going to have DRS, but I don't think she's going to try and fight back on this occasion. She doesn't, so Harry is through into 4th place. Not sure he's going to have enough time to catch Santi, but we'll see. He has got the fastest lap point at the moment, has Harry. Now this is an interesting battle. Dixon's still not within DRS range to get the rear wing flap open, but he doesn't need to pass very. He could just sit behind him until the checker flag and take his 9th victory of the season. Big Boss Bell's right behind the Renault of Exotic Alpha, who is one of only 2 drivers. Oh, and Big Boss has nearly clipped the barrier, but he just got away with it. I was just going to say, Exotic Alpha has got a 5-second time penalty at the moment. So as it stands, he would drop behind Big Boss Bells and Statistic King. Dixon now within a second of Very as they come up to the end of lap 24. Now Will Dixon, he probably won't go for it on the start finish straight or the back straight. He'll probably do it on the long back straight between turns 9 and 11. The Big Boss Bells all over the back of the Renault of Exotic Alpha. Can he do what Harry did to Ascari a lap ago? Not quite. Keeps his foot in it, but has to stop back in behind. That's the right decision there from the Racing Point driver. Rear wing open into the slipstream of the Renault on the start finish straight. Can't get the move done into turn 1, and so he sits behind. Let's go back to the battle for the lead, because this is important. Very keeping hold of first place, but for how long? Will it be until the checkered flag? Or can Dixon get the move done? So I don't think Very's got that much of a choice at this point. Now Sansi's another 9 seconds behind, so Very would still finish second. Harry in 4th place. I think his soft tyres will be beginning to fall off at the moment. There are Ascari's tyres likewise, and Ascari's through ahead of Exotic Alpha and up into 6th place. Next driver up front is Luna Ascari, who is just under 4 seconds ahead. Dixon closing in on the Renault. Onto the start finish straight they go. There's an incident set to 2. It's Kiyamo who has spun at the loop and he's picked up damage as well. So he will need to come back into the pits to get a front wing replacement. He can't carry on with that damage. So Dixon right behind Very as they come onto the long back straight as they exit turn 9. ERS is being used, but Dixon's got slightly more ERS than the Renault. Can he get into the slipstream as he opens the DRS now, which he does. Dixon to the outside. Is this going to be a change of lead as they go into turn 11 side by side? Oh, and that was a very nice line there from Very. Kept his car pointing in the right direction as he got the car slowed down in time. But Dixon round the outside into turn 13. And it's a brilliant manoeuvre from Dixon, who takes the lead on that 26 with just over 2 laps remaining. Very just couldn't hold him back for that much longer. He has got that 5-second time penalty as well, so all he needs to do is to remain 5 seconds in front of third place Monsanti to take second place on the podium. Got a battle for for fifth actually, because Luna Scar is only a couple of seconds ahead of Big Boss Bells, who is chasing her on the soft tyres. So that battle may well go to the last lap. Now Very will be within DRS range still of Dixon actually. Now bear in mind, Very's hard tyres are 5 laps younger than Dixon's. He won't go for the move into 6. Can he go to the inside through the loop? He can't through there. Both got a similar amount of ERS, but Very will have the benefit of the DRS, unlike Dixon. Rear wing open. Is he going to get the move done? Is he going to go to the inside? He is! Oh, he couldn't get this car slowed down. He's off! So Very goes off into the runoff area. Too greedy on the brakes. This was not what he needed. Oh, he's going to lose time and perhaps lose second place now, because Santi's most certainly within 5 seconds of him. So Very didn't need to do that. And Big Boss Bells has got ahead of Ascari for 5th position. So Big Boss Bells on course for a 5th place finish. In fact, Harry, who's on 5 laps older soft tyres to Big Boss Bells, so we could maybe see a change of 4th position before the checker flag. But Dixon is now on his last lap. He's been on the hard tyres for 22 laps now. It's been an excellent race for him. Not quite so for his teammate, who will be livid after the collision he had with Night Shadow, which will be investigated after the race for sure. Now Big Boss Bells is 9 tenths behind the Red Bull. We'll probably see a change of position on the last lap here, because Big Boss Bells will have more grip at this stage than the Red Bull. Rear wing opens. He probably won't get it done into 6, but on the back straight before turn 11 is where he's going to get the move done. In fact, he's going to the inside, look. Ooh, was he ahead of him before the DRS zone? I don't think he was. So Big Boss Bells should have the benefit of DRS, which he does. Gets the rear wing open now to the outside. He will break the later of the two. It's Big Boss Bells who gets up into 4th place. That's a great drive from him. But Dixon fought his way back through the field after picking up damage earlier on with Santi. But he's coming through the last 2 corners to take his 9th victory of the season. Dixon wins the Vietnam Grand Prix. Excellent drive from him. Very will cross the line second, but with that 5-second time penalty, that position is going to go to Santi. So Very will be down to 3rd place at the finish. Big Boss Bells coming home in 4th place by passing Harry on the last lap. Harry will be 5th. Luna Ascari has lost, well, I say lost 6th position. Statistic Engage crossing the line, who ran out of fuel, I believe. Exotic Alpha crossing the line in 8th. Or he's made contact with the Alfa Romeo after he crossed the line. Liverpool Fan will be 9th ahead of Jay Hartnell, who takes the final point in 10th. Night Shadow will be in 11th with Scenario 12th. KMO will be 13th at the flag. So it's been an interesting race, but Dixon has done it. That result lifts him 96 points clear of Santi now in the championship. And it's another taste of champagne for him today. He could well clinch the title with 5 or 6 races to spare. Looking at the other championship standings, Big Bull Bells' 4th place keeps him in 3rd in the championship ahead of Hayden. Night Shadow scoring no points in that race. Jay Hartnell picking up a point in that. Ripple Fan picking up a fair few points as well as the Statistic King. Harry picking up more points than the Red Bull with his 5th place. That puts him on to 40 points, and with the fastest lap as well, that puts him on 41 actually. So moving ahead of BX37 Pro, who crashed out earlier on. But the drivers are now on the podium. Dixon collecting yet another winner's trophy. With Ferry picking up his 1st points of the campaign with 3rd place, 15 points for him. Lift him up ahead of quite a number of drivers actually. I think he goes up to 12th from 19th in the drivers' standings in all that. The drivers now celebrate on the podium. And Dixon, it's yet another victory for both him and for Mercedes. That championship is getting ever closer. So Dixon wins by over 10 seconds from Santi in 2nd place. Then it's Very in 3rd after the time penalty was applied. Big Balls Bells is 4th. Harry in 5th and getting the fastest lap. Luna Scari, a brilliant 6th place for her. Then Statistic King in 7th. Exotic Alpha 8th. Liverpool Fan 9th. Jay Hartnell taking the final point in 10th. Night Shadow was 11th, followed by Scenario in 12th. KMO was the last of the finish in 13th. Kivu retired, as did Strays, who was disqualified after not taking his drive-through penalty after it was dished out to him. Hayden also crashed out after coming together with Night Shadow. Leppy also retired on the safety car restart. BX37 Pro was out. Killer J also retired in the pits. Rizzlesticks was out after not taking the start. So that was a brilliant race. Another reminder of the championship between Dixon and Santi. The gap is now increased to 96 points going into the next round of the season, which will be at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi in a week's time on the 23rd of May, 7 p.m. British Summer Time. I'm Tom Cairns, and I will speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.